Now that we've got the fundamentals under our belt, let's check out some advanced Groovy features. The first one is called a closure. A closure is essentially a different way of declaring a function, but a function that can be packaged up, passed around, and assigned to variables. You declare one just using curly braces like this. Closures are so called because they also capture variables from their enclosing environment. So, this value of foo will always be $1 million. Let's go ahead and try calling. Since my closure is a function, we can call it just by putting parens after it. Let's give it a try. Awesome, there we go. We're getting print statements from inside the closure, and the value of foo is respected inside the closure. Unlike normal functions, closures can be passed around to different variables. So if we declare bar and set it equal to my closure, and then declare yet another variable baz and set it equal to bar, we can then invoke baz because baz is now a function. And there we go. By calling baz, we got the exact same result as calling my closure. All right, let's do some really tricky stuff. Hold on to your hats. So closures have a different syntax for arguments. You put a comma-separated list of your arguments on the left side of an arrow and then do whatever you want with the arguments. So I hope it's clear that this is actually a function that doubles its inputs. The tricky bit is that Gradle allows for higher order functions. That is, functions that take as one of their inputs another function. For example, here we have apply twice. Its first argument is a function, and its second argument is just some argument to be passed to that function. And what it returns is function applied twice to that argument. Let's check out an example. If we set foo equal to 5, and then we apply double it twice to foo, well, let's see what we get. Before we run it, see if you can figure out what it's going to be ahead of time. Well, let's see. 5 doubled is 10, and then 10 doubled is 20. Awesome. Let's talk about lists in Groovy. Groovy allows for a super simple list literal syntax, and also allows for some very sophisticated list processing. For example, we can execute a closure for each item in a list. We simply define our closure. In this case, it's just printing out each item. And then we call myList, each, and then our closure. Let's see what this does. And there we go. Each item in our list gets printed out. There's a couple things we can do here to make our syntax a little bit more compact. The first thing is we can define our closure in line. Note we don't have any parentheses around here because Groovy syntax is awesome. Also, if a closure is only taking one argument, then by default that argument is just called it. So let's try running this. And there we go. Does exactly what we expect. Let's talk about classes in Groovy. Groovy has a simplified syntax for creating classes, but the classes themselves are essentially Java under the hood. So here we've got a class, it's got a member variable, it's got a method. We can create a new one, just how you're used to from Java, and we can ask it to print its greeting. We can also change the greeting and ask it to print that greeting again. Groovy automatically creates getters and setters for all of your member variables. Let's give this a try. And our outputs are just as we expect, first printing the default greeting, then after we've customized it, it prints the custom greeting. Closures can have a delegate object. Let's check out this closure we've created here. It's trying to assign to a variable called greeting, but greeting closure doesn't have a variable called greeting. Actually, the only place the greeting is defined is as a member variable of this class. What we can do is set the delegate of greeting closure to be an instance of Groovy greeter. And now greeting closure can access the member variables and methods of that instance of Groovy greeter. So if all goes well, when we invoke greeting closure, after setting its delegate to my Groovy greeter, it should be able to set the greeting and print the greeting just fine. Let's give it a try. There we go. We've successfully changed the greeting inside the instance of Groovy greeter from a closure. Well, congrats on completing our whirlwind tour of Groovy. I know that was a lot to cover. Fortunately, there are a ton of resources out there to help you. We've linked a bunch in the instructor notes, and I strongly recommend checking out this demo again in the sample code provided with the class.